components I need in order to make this weapon fire. What do I need? You got to have lead shot. And your guide will show you what a piece of lead shot looks like, or a round shot, the bullet, or projectile. What else do we need, madam? You got to have gunpowder. Gunpowder is your propellant. Gunpowder is made of charcoal, sulfur, and something called potassium nitrate. It was carried in these individual wooden bottles called chargers. This was a one-handed operation. To pop the lid off that charger, and you would pour the gunpowder directly down the muzzle. And finally, last but not least, what do you use to ignite the gunpowder? As it is explosive. You need some form of, no? Fire. Right, you were on it. You were on it. I saw it. And that is where the weapon gets its name, match lock. This is the match. This is the lock of the weapon. The match was nothing more than a rope or cord that's been boiled in a mixture containing gunpowder and wood ash, which makes lye. Wood ash is also used to make soap. It's very high alkaline, and what it does is it breaks up the nitrates in the gunpowder, allowing the gunpowder to permeate the hemp rope. So in the end, what we wind up with is a slow-burning wick or fuse called match that was carried betwixt the fingers, like that, okay? This match, when it touches the gunpowder ignites. And that gunpowder, when it explodes or ignites, it produces a hot gas. And when that all happens down inside this barrel, that round ball has nowhere to go but out. And that's what propels the ball out of one of these muskets. That's what propels a round shot out of what you might call a cannon or an artillery piece. Gunpowder's some pretty powerful stuff. Now, this weapon was first introduced in the late 1400s. Many would consider this the first modern or mechanized firearm. And for the Virginia Company, this weapon proved to be a cost-effective one, made up of only 4 moving parts. So you have a trigger, and when the trigger's pulled, look what it moves. That device is called a serpent or a serpentine. And what I'm referring to, a serpent, what is a serpent? A large snake. Can I get a dragon?
No.
Yeah, it's a snake or dragon. And what does this mythical creature breathe?
Fire.
Fire. So when the trigger's pulled, the serpent introduces fire to gunpowder. Like so. Make sense? This weapon took about 20 seconds to load in the hands of a trained musketeer. Now, many of these men that came to Virginia had a good deal of military experience. Many of them were part of trained bands back in England. But many of them had very little experience. And it's going to take some doing to train these men to get them into a formidable fighting force if they're to protect this fort from the Spanish. And by 1609, relations between the English and another group of people starts to get pretty bad. And who am I talking about? No, not the Spanish.
Spain.
No, not the Spanish.
The British. The British.
No,
Natives.
the natives, the Powhatan. Okay? So England begins their first conflict with the Powhatan here in Virginia in 1610. And this weapon is going to prove to be a decisive one. It was capable of hitting a target the size of a barrel at 100 yards away. That's pretty impressive. No one had ever seen anything like it. And today, I'm going to demonstrate for you guys the steps of loading and firing the matchlock musket, and I'm going to describe each step. So at the end of this demonstration, you should all be competent musketeers.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay. The
Oh,
first step in loading the matchlock musket is to prime the pan. So So what I'm doing is I'm pouring just a little bit of powder into this pan. That serpent has to deliver the fire to this powder. So we've got to get something to ignite the main charge, and this is called a priming charge. We close the pan door, we cast the weapon about, and this is the part where I'd use the bottle to pour the main charge directly down the muzzle. Loading a ball of lead shot, using a device called a scouring stick to seat the shot firmly on top of the gunpowder, and returning the scouring stick. Placing the match into the serpent, and this weapon is now ready to fire. I'm going to give the command, present peace, give fire. When you hear that, you'll cover your ears, okay? It is kind of loud. Present your peace, give fire.
Whoa! Yo! Holy shit!
That wasn't too bad. You guys enjoy your visit. Welcome to James Fort. Have a great vacation. See you later. Have fun.
Bro, I had 2 minutes of that. That's actually cool. I can't believe he actually shot it, bro. I'm having like 6.5 minutes of the entire process right now. Wow. No, but I have 2.5 minutes. It's time to go. Well, anyways, guys, that was pretty impressive. I've never seen something like this before, but I hope you liked it. Rusty, crusty, dusty, rusty. Oh, we're about to enter this place. They're all good. Time is it? Take it.
Okay.
That looks like a farm. I don't really know, but check it.
This is replica James Fort. What shape is James Fort? It's a triangle. Very good. With the big guns mounted at the 3 tips of the triangle. I've heard some of you guess already what this building is. It's a church. We know that the original church had 2 brass bells. We know that there's a baptismal font inside the front door with scripture above it. So we're going to go all the way up front in the church.
Actually going inside a church, guys.
I plead the fifth.
An ancient church from Jamestown. Okay. Anyways. I got some things to do.
Or you can stand. Doesn't matter.
Go back there. Out with y'all. Out with y'all. Hey, this is nice.
Okay. As a settler, you had to come to church twice a day. In the morning and in the afternoon. The pastor would preach midweek from the pulpit and again Sunday morning. If you weren't doing guard duty or any other assigned duty, you were expected to come to church. What do you do in a church? Must be very important if you have to come here twice a day. Worship God, pray to God. Very good. Very good. You give thanks probably for just being alive.
Yeah. Hey.
So, but you also got information here. This was the biggest building in the fort. So people would gather here to get information. Announcements would be made. Okay. Now, it is a Christian church. Do any of you know what type of Christian church? It's called a denomination. You know what? This is a very difficult question. Well, let me help you. It's a church, and it's from England. So put those 2 words together. Church of England.
Yeah, the Church of England.
Church of England. Now, King James as the head of the country, right? Who's the head of the Church of England? Actually, guys, it's King James. No, listen up. King James, the head of the country. King James, the head of the Church of England. Now, let's compare that to today. Who's the President of the United States? Yeah.
Joe Biden.
Very good. Is he the head of the churches in the United States? No. When we created our country more than 200 years ago, we separated church from state. But 400 years ago, whoever was the king or queen of a country was also the leader of the church. Now, when you signed on to come here, you assigned your allegiance to the Virginia Company of London. They got a charter from King James. That meant you signed your allegiance to King James. By signing your allegiance to King James, you also signed your allegiance to the Church of England. You didn't know you did all that, did you?
You can sign again.
Most people in England were Church of England, but one of every 5 people in England was Catholic. Are any of you Catholic today by any chance? Okay, step up. Step forward.
Oh, man.
So there's lots of Catholics in England. But would the Virginia Company allow Catholics here early on? Yes, no, maybe? No. No, they wouldn't allow Catholics here. No, don't go away. Why not? There's a very practical reason. In fact, it's not even a religious reason. Think of Spain. Spain is 100% Catholic. So, if she's here early on, and she's Catholic, they would think she's a spy spying for Spain. It would not go well with her. Okay? So is religion pretty important? You may sit down now. If you're a Quaker or Moravian, you went to Pennsylvania. Well, oh, there is a Catholic colony.
Here?
Yes, that you can go to. It started in 1634. Even sounds Catholic. Hey, it's right across the Potomac River from your county. What's the state across the Potomac River?
Maryland? Maryland?
Maryland! Stand up again.
Oh, hey.
Catholics went to Maryland. So you're not far from.
Wrong state.
Now, Maryland, it's not named after Mary, the mother of Jesus. It's named after Queen Mary, the last major Catholic monarch of England. That's what Maryland is named after. So, if you're a Catholic, you went to Maryland. If you're Puritan, you went to Massachusetts. So was religion pretty important 400 years ago? Yeah, it kind of determined what colony you went to. Now, here in Virginia, you ever hear of George Washington? Yeah. Thomas Jefferson?
Yeah.
Patrick Henry?
Yes.
Maybe James Monroe? James Madison?
Yes.
Okay, guys, I've been recording for so long. I think that's enough for today's video.
George Mason?
Bye, guys.